Welcome to Sunderland RCA TV, your direct line inside the Sunderland LGV Park. You're listening to RCA TV News on the 19th of July. Coming up on this bulletin, we've got a full report on last night's latest pre-season friendly against Brighton and Crawcrook Albion. But before then, a couple of items of club news to bring you up to date with in case you've missed them. Firstly, the news after the weekend that John Bernickel has departed the club as reserve team joint manager. This was following a heavy defeat at DNS Valley for the reserve team at the weekend, and it was decided that the club needed to have a reset. John leaves with the club's best wishes for whatever he does next, and this leaves Dominic Jones in sole charge of the club's reserve team. He'll be assisted initially by goalkeeping coach Neil Tate. So that's the news there of John Bernickel departing the reserve team. Also, the club are currently looking for a physio for the 2023-4 season. So if you know anyone that might be able to take up this role, full expenses will be paid, then they should contact the club secretary, Rob Jones, which they can do by calling 07932 951 842 or emailing him at robert-jones10@live.co.uk. Obviously you can pause the screen if you want to take down those details. But it's a vital role at the club, so if you do know of anyone that might possibly be interested in this role, then do reach out to them and ask them to contact the club for an initial informal discussion. So that's the club needing a physio. And turning our attention then to last night's pre-season friendly against Brighton and Crawcrook Albion. Brighton from Division 2 came into this game in sparkling form, having just beaten Stobswood Welfare from the Northern Alliance Premier Division 10-1 in their previous friendly last Friday, and that also comes after previous pre-season victories over EBAC Division 1 sides Newcastle Benfield and West Allotment Celtic. So RCA were expecting a tough game from the Division 2 outfit, and they lined up with 5 senior players missing. So Thomas Bott, Ben Riding, Stevie Black, Ryan Gooch and Davy Gordon were all unavailable for this game. So RCA lined up with Matty Wilkinson in goal, Ollie James at 2, Jack Cagill at 3, Alex Phil making his debut after signing at the weekend in at 4, a trialist at 5, Cammy McHarg at 6, Niall Crosby making his debut at 7, Liam Paul making his debut at 8, Jackson Ward continued up front at 9, Ash Levan at 10 and Craig Robinson Foster at 11. The substitutes who came on in the second half were a trialist, Danny Earl, player coach, John Anderson, another trialist, and Bradley Paul, the reserve team captain, also came on during the second half. The game started brightly for RCA, and Ash Levan scored his first goal for the club after robbing the goalkeeper in the 6th minute before bundling the ball into the net to give RCA an early lead. However, Brighton looked lively right from the start, and they levelled when Aaron Costello put the ball in the net from close range. After chances from Ash Levan again and also Jackson Ward to restore RCA's lead, it was the visitors that took the lead with a smart finish from Reece McLeod. And then after Matty Wilkinson had brought a player down inside the box, the visitors were awarded a penalty that was converted by Lee Waugh. Before the break, there was still time for Costello to add his second, so we went into the interval at RCA 1, Brighton and Crawcrook 4. In the second half, RCA reduced the arrears early in the second half with a header from one of the trialists that had come on, but that proved not to be the start of the fight back, as Aaron Costello went on to complete his hat-trick after RCA conceded another penalty. This time it was Costello who took it, and he did indeed complete his hat-trick. And Lee Waugh, who'd scored in the first half, added a second to stretch the advantage for Brighton to 6-2. However, probably the best goal of the night was actually scored by RCA. That was from substitute John Anderson with a fine strike to bring the scoreline a little bit more respectable, but it did finish Sunderland RCA 3, Brighton and Crawcrook Albion 6. Brighton, of course, will be absolutely delighted to complete a trio of First Division scouts. However, for the RCA management team of Dave Dixon and Callum Brown, they were not impressed with the performance and said that it has answered some questions about certain players that were on the fringes of the first team squad, and not necessarily in a positive way. They will obviously be looking to bounce back on Saturday when the side travel to, there's confirmation of the scorer of RCA's second goal, John Anderson, a great strike. Confirmation then that the next game, when most of the senior players will be returning, will be this Saturday at 1 o'clock. Note the early kickoff for that game at the Washington Hub, when we travel to face another EBAC Division 2 side, Washington. Dave and Callum will certainly be looking for a response in this fixture next Saturday, with only a week to go at that stage to the start of the EBAC League season, when we open up against Newcastle Benfield on the 29th of July at the Sunderland RCA, Sunderland LGV Park. So we'll be previewing, of course, that trip to Washington and any other news that breaks in the meantime in the next edition on Friday. But until then, you are up to date